She's a machine.
Absolutely committed to her sport and to her boxing identity.
Nothing will stop her.
Absolutely the typical athlete who has really strong perfectionist tendencies.
She's motivated in everything she puts her mind to.
A really authentic and genuine person.
I don't know anybody else like her.
All right, blue, red, I want you to keep your heads up, no holding, keep your punches up, listen to my commands at all times, touch gloves, wait for the bell, good luck to you both.
She wanted to win. She wanted a gold medal. Never mind the fact it was the first absolutely major competition she'd been to. That's what she wanted, and so nobody's harder on Rosie than she is on herself.
I have difficulty with it, but it's what she wants to do, and you've got to let people do what they want to do. You just can't tie people down.
You won't meet many people nicer than Rosie.
I used to go to bed in my clothes the night before I go training, wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, sneak out the back door of my house, wheel my moped down the road, start it up and cycle all the way from a place called Caldecott to Newport. It took me 40 minutes. And then I trained in the boxing gym down there before the gym was even open for about an hour and a quarter. Then I get back on my moped, ride it back home, wheel it back up the drive, crawl back into bed for 15 minutes and I get up for school. I didn't get caught for about 2 months. Then my dad got wind of it, who didn't live with me, and wasn't too pleased.
It's quite funny to look back at now, but we did have words, and I must admit, I wasn't keen on the boxing, and I don't think any dad would be.
Initially, I made sure that she was very aware of the risks. You see people with head injuries and with very nasty head injuries, and so I just wanted her to know what the possible consequences were, not short term, but also in the long term, and she knows, and that wouldn't stop her.
Boxing is a unique sport. I guess every sport's unique in its own ways, but the pressures in boxing are different. The preparation for bouts and for concentration in bouts, and on the one hand, boxers are experiencing physical pain, which can distract them from their technical and tactical skills.
There's a smear of blood from the nose of Eccles, who just fed another stiff left jab. And the referee has seen that damage to the nose, and that's why he's calling for the ringside doctor.
But also they're having an emotional reaction.
If your head is not screwed on, there's no way. You could be the best athlete, boxer training, and there's so many boys you've seen, they can't produce it in the ring. They're more talented than the boys they box, but they can't produce it.
She came into the game, she had all the ingredients of becoming a good box fighter, except when she first came in, it was mainly fighting she was doing. She was just rough, tough, with a lot of rough edges on her.
Boxing's kind of defined my life, I think, since really being 16. So from a 16-year-old when I first sort of put a pair of gloves on, it's kind of been my avenue to everything. You know, I think it kept me on the straight and narrow and gave me that drive, but then that sort of bled into sort of even an academic side. Really, it pushed me towards that, and it's kind of defined who I meet and the good people in my life, and given me like that self-discipline and that sort of that self-confidence to go out and get what I'm looking for as well. I think it's kind of defined everything. Everything now is sort of in my life is circled from boxing.
Probably one of the most dedicated, hard-working and passionate people that I know, and the balance she has in her life is incredible, which inspires me every day. But yeah, she's just a genuinely hard-working person who deserves everything that she has and everything that will come to her.
Leading into the Commonwealth Games, it was really about, I think she just wanted to get there.
Commonwealth Games, I think, were like the best thing I'd ever done in terms of, I think, the challenge, like the vibe, the build-up, like that one solid goal that we trained towards.
They had a set programme, even to the point of getting onto Australian time. They slept in the day, they ate them times for about 2 or 3 weeks, didn't they, before? Was it a month? Yeah, and then she had to fit a uni work in.
The first time that really people had been able to properly follow along, like family, and then to feel the buzz back home. Because like with other Europeans I'd done well, they followed, but it wasn't quite the same. So the Commonwealth Games was this big multi-nation for the first time, which was, yeah, it was really nice because it felt like it was about everyone and not just about the boxing.
As with most elite athletes, she overthinks. She probably puts too much pressure on herself.
This is the most high-profile tournament you've ever boxed in. How are you dealing with the expectation and the pressure that comes with that?
To be honest, I think my expectation's bigger than I feel. Like, I always expect the best. I always expect gold, and so I'd be very, very disappointed if I came away with a silver medal. That wasn't a gold medal winning performance at all, but it was a win, and that's what I needed. Now we move on now, and we box better, and we go for gold now.
Athletes by their nature tend to have really strong perfectionist tendencies. And that's fine, and we want to reinforce that and value that. But the moment those tendencies fall into perfectionist concerns, that's when it's really easy for elite athletes to feel overwhelmed. And so what the brain does is it plays tricks. It then creates, if you like, a music library in their head that repeats a cycle of negative phrases, negative words, and that can create a fear of failure.
When silver medals, I got silver in the Europeans and I cried for days. So yeah, we're going to be going for gold on the 14th and I'm ecstatic.
My aim was gold. Like, I think how I'd been feeling, it's probably the best I'd felt. I think every time you have you never have a perfect prep. So like, I remember I had shin splints, which was so frustrating, and little niggles because your body does pick stuff up. So no prep's perfect, but in terms of how I felt in myself was probably the best I've ever felt.
So the 69 kilogram welterweight gold medal bout is underway. It's between boxers from Wales and England, and the boxer wearing red, Rosie Eccles, has come out smoking to begin this round. She's already had success with a right cross over the top, and the boxer wearing blue, Sandy
Yes,
Wright.
I was fatigued from having 3 hard fights before, but I kind of knew I had it in me. And then obviously the last bell went, end of the 3rd round, I thought I've done it. And so like the feeling was just complete. Even though you have to wait for the decision, I remember going over to Kyle and punching him in his face.
What a hard-fought contest for 69 kilogram welterweight gold. Both boxers feel that they have done enough, and this one we suspect is going to be incredibly tight. Well, this could well be split if it's taking this long.
Time for the official decision. Ladies and gentlemen, the judges have scored this bout as a split points decision in favour of the blue corner.
It's Sandy Ryan.
I believed I'd done it, so then when my hand wasn't raised, it was like, it was like a massive sort of kick in the stomach, really. I was like, oh, not quite again. Second major where I've come away with a silver, which other people were like, that's great, but for me, I fell short, and I think that was really hard. And I think a lot of people had felt I won, but I don't really go along that sort of mentality because, okay, you can think you win, but you can always do it better.
Although Rosie didn't like it, she respected it, and a lot of people come up to her and said thought she'd won, but she didn't, and that's it, and she got accepted, and she accepted it. I don't know if she's accepted it yet, but she's going to make good, that's how it is.
My Commonwealth medal hasn't really come out of the box, partly because people have often wanted to see it, but also I think it's a reminder that it sounds a bit daft, but I didn't go away for this. I went away for a gold medal. Commonwealth Games result it's twofold really. I was heartbroken.
And it's really interesting, so there's some research to talk about that silver medalists often experience a post-competition blues, almost a post-competition low. And I guess because we're aware of that as sports psychologists, when we came back, it was absolutely a reminder to her about how proud we were, and that this is just another key transition point along her, her longer journey towards, fingers crossed, Olympic participation and maybe even Olympic gold.
The mental side, you get hardened through experience. We have got a good sports science team with us. We've got psychology, physiology, nutritionists, etc. It just keeps going. It's endless, the sports science team. We try to get them to come away from it and deal with situations themselves to make them self-sufficient. And I think Rosie is at the stage now where she is self-sufficient.
I kind of looked at it as, okay, I went out and I performed. I performed every fight, and I didn't let the pressure get to me. It was a massive learning curve. We were out in Australia for 5 weeks, dealing with the pressure. That is all we trained for the last, God knows, 2 years, or that was the main aim, especially of that last 5 months as well. And I think I had to take the good from it, and went back and watched it back a lot, like, okay, I still watched it back, actually was more convinced. I felt like I'd done it, but then it was not about that. It was about, okay, what do I need to do better? And that was kind of it.
She's had some good news this week that she's been opted on to the podium potential up in GB in Sheffield. So that means she'll move away from this programme and she will now be participating in Sheffield on a 4-day-a-week with potentially the opportunity to qualify for the 2022 Olympic Games. So she's now moved up another step on the ladder.
I start next month, so the 1st of August. So yeah, that's like a massive step. To be honest, I'm really gonna miss my coaching team here. Like they've done masses for me, like all 3 of them. My training sort of split between here and the GB setup in Sheffield. I train up there 4 days of the week, train 3 times a day, and then I drive back and my training continues here and my degree. Yeah, so this is my set of deadlines that I've got. So the idea is to get 2 more ticks, give or take. No, maybe one more tick before the Worlds. On the way to Pontypool, this is my home gym in Pontypool, so this is where, when I'm back from GB, other than Welsh squad, this is where I'll sort of come and train, which is really nice to go back to see all the boys. I think I'm fighting maybe in Poland and Spain in September, first one's back. And then I have the World Championships. That's massive for me, you know, to medal in that. People think the Olympics is far away. The Olympic qualifiers are next year, which will be an extra Worlds. In my eyes, my performance now, go and medal in and winning ideally, but aim is medal first. Medal in the Worlds is a massive statement in terms of your qualification potential.
Representing Wales, Eccles Rosie Joy.
Outside, pollution was horrendous.
I think she's asthmatic, so it affected her quite a bit.
Yeah.
Rosie Joy Eccles, a good opportunity for her to make her way through to the next stage, but I can tell you a Canadian opponent will be no pushover here.
I think her fitness suffered, and she had sinus troubles as well, out there as well. So it wasn't, I don't think she was in as good condition as she actually was for the Commonwealth Games.
They put the extra Worlds in next year, so this is the Worlds, pretty much 11 months before the first Olympic qualifier. So from that point of view, I just knew me going out and bringing home a medal, ideally winning, but first bringing home a medal, has a massive impact. Obviously me and my counterpart Sandy. It's not about her, it's about my performance, but it is relative. It was about going and performing well and bringing back a medal to say, like, look, a medal is Olympic qualification. I proved I can do it.
Would it be the silver rondo in red for Canada or Rosie Eccles for Wales in blue?
The last winner of the afternoon session.
Great to see such sportsmanship, but it's so tense.
By split decision.
Split decision it is.
Then the red corner.
Oh, it's gone the way of the Canadian.
Canada.
Rosie Eccles is distraught. Rosie
Brazil.
Eccles distraught, and it's just those 2 judges from Korea in Zimbabwe who give it wildly in favour.
On the day I felt fine in myself, and I'd shook off a lot of me being unwell, and I was up and ready for it as always, but in there I just didn't feel I had my rhythm, I didn't feel all together, and I knew I was not boxing well, and I was just like, what's wrong? But I think when I got out, I beat myself up massively that I didn't get the decision, but then looking back now, I'm like, okay, maybe a lot of things maybe contributed to that feeling in there. Maybe a complete change of team 3 months before the biggest major you've ever been to, combined with a few unfortunate things. My performance is on my head and I should perform no matter what, but I think now, instead of beating myself up, I can look at it like, okay, that happened. Next time, we'll try and do everything so those things don't happen.
I think no matter what's happened, and no matter how many setbacks she has, she's always just picked herself up, and she always will find the good. It's so difficult being an athlete, but then trying to be an athlete and do your masters and then be a young 22-year-old and have friends and have relationships, it's difficult, but no matter what, she'll always be positive because that's just who she is. And she said to me earlier, it's just life will throw you things, and it's just no one owes you anything, you just pick yourself back up. And that's such an inspiration to everyone to hear that.
There's great days and like you share them with everyone, but there's some really dark days, and a lot of the times you'll suffer them on your own as well, and especially in an individual sport. God, I'll beat myself up time after time again, but then it's knowing how to then turn that around, and it's knowing how to use the support of your friends and your family as well. I think it's quite easy to go into yourself sometimes and be like, oh, I can't, I can't do this on my own, and then not ask for help. And all's not lost, I think it's still all to play for actually going into this next year. In June is a massive opportunity to prove, okay, that happened then, that's a year out, and now let's keep performing over the next year and benefit more and have big things coming.